2015 was a historic season for CAC baseball as two conference teams advanced to the Division III World Series, marking the first time ever that the CAC was represented by multiple teams in the Final Eight. Frostburg State earned an automatic bid to the NCAA postseason with its second CAC title in program history, while CAC runner-up Salisbury secured an at-large bid. Both the Bobcats and Seagulls went on to capture their respective regional titles, making the CAC the only conference in the country with more than one team in Appleton, Wisconsin. Now let's find out who will make a push towards postseason glory this spring as we take an in-depth look at each CAC squad entering the 2016 campaign.
Our expectations for this year are to be simply relevant in the CAC, which we have not been the past 2 years. I feel that with a new conference, new coach, this being my fourth year, we had to go through a culture change and get the right guys in here who can compete at this level and also be dedicated to at the same level. And we feel we have an excellent group this year. We've had a good off season, great fall, great off season, and we feel we're confident that we're ready to compete this year. And our guys are hungry. We do not like the taste in our mouth of what's happened here the last couple of years. So it's not really a measurable goal, but we want to be relevant in the CAC. If we feel we are that, then we can compete with anybody in the country.
My goals and expectations for this season is to be competitive. I mean, to be honest with you, with a lot of the younger guys that we have coming in and a lot of the core guys that we have from the past 2 years, we've been a young team, especially last year, playing a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and this year isn't going to be any different. But now a lot of those sophomores are going to be juniors and really going to make up the core of this team. I expect to be in the upper third of the CAC this year. We have a lot of depth at pitching. And playing against a lot of the top teams in the country, and playing great competition, there's really nothing else you can ask for in playing a lot of these teams. And it's really going to be a fun season and seeing how our team reacts and competes against a lot of the top guys in the country.
We had 4 seniors graduate from the program last year: Cody Henry, Clint Hicks, Will Cheney, and Tom Cheney, and were important parts of our program. And we hope that they will continue to be part of the program as alumni moving forward as well.
Our off-season regimen, it's pretty tough, to be honest with you. I'm actually a transfer student, and it compares highly to a Division I level. We just got a new athletic system this year called Volt, and it's really helping us get on track and being baseball specific, so we can really train our muscles and train our teammates to be the best that they can be. There's a lot of conditioning, a lot of power movements, speed movements. So look to see a little bit more power, a little bit more speed this year from Penn State Harrisburg, as we're going to be competitive in the conference. And we put in a lot of work this year, and we're about ready to let it show.
Key returners for us on the mound are Brian Goodling, Mark Artley, and Derek Slagle. All 3 of those guys logged significant conference innings last year, and I have high hopes that they're going to lead our young staff into conference this year as well. Positionally, Kevin Kramer saw a lot of time at DH, played a little bit of first base. Chris Ioka played a lot of third base and also DH some. Tom Deniston was the catcher for most of the year last year. And Josh Brubaker, who we are moving to the outfield. All of those guys saw lots of at-bats in the conference last year, which we hope will play a significant part in their growth as a CAC players.
This season, I'm mostly looking forward to seeing how a lot of our younger guys develop throughout the year. Like I said, we have a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores that are going to get a lot of playing time. And being able to watch those guys grow and develop into college athletes, it's really a cool thing to do. I mean, I did it myself when I was a freshman, and you really get to see yourself be completely different from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And watching these guys being able to compete, it's a different step being from high school into college, and letting these guys get their eyes open to what college baseball is actually about.
We have a lot of newcomers to the program again this year. We have Will Quiles, who transferred in from the junior college level. We see him as our shortstop to start the year. Connor Bowers transferred into the program and will compete at first base and hopefully hit in the middle of our lineup somewhere. Mike Balshy transferred in, and we hope that he will solidify the back end of our bullpen. And we have a lot of freshmen. We have a lot of freshman pitchers, and there are definitely going to be freshmen, a number of freshmen playing positionally as well. And we like where our group's at, and they've worked really hard, and we're confident going into the season.
Our schedule this year is tough. I mean, with a lot of the out-of-conference games that we play, we head down south, especially in the beginning of our season. We head down to North Carolina, Virginia, play a lot of top schools down there. So, being able to get that top competition right out of the way at the beginning of the season is going to help us prepare for the conference schedule that we have in the CAC. I mean, we play in one of the top conferences in the nation. Teams every year going to the World Series regional bids. It's a good place to play, and it really makes you be on top of your game every day as an athlete to be able to compete against these other students and these other athletes, for being top dog. It's an exciting day whenever you get to play against somebody else who's, the top team in the nation, and you know that on any given day that any team can beat anyone in our conference.
Playing in the CAC, our strength of schedule is always going to be strong. There are no weak opponents. You have to bring your best against everyone every day. So right there, our strength of schedule is very good. Non-conference wise, we're taking more trips down south this year to play some South region teams. We're going to be playing Averett, Washington and Lee, Bridgewater, and a couple others. So we've also picked up some northern teams on our schedule who were ranked regionally last year. So if we're not getting the automatic bid at the end of the year, then we definitely want to be competing for an at-large bid to put ourselves in the best position to make postseason play in the regionals.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
Last year, the weather beat us to death. We had an outstanding fall practice. Then when the season started, we were inside for 34 straight days. And baseball is a game that's designed to play outside. And I don't like to go outside unless it's 40 degrees. We didn't get many 40-degree temperatures, and we lost 11 games to the weather. We only played 29 games. Thereby, I think if we can get more of our games in this year, we will do better. We have to score more runs, but we have to sort of play what's called small ball in baseball. We have to bunt well, we have to hit and run, and we have to steal some bases.
Our expectations is nothing short of hosting the playoff games. The top 6 teams in the conference go to the playoffs, and not only do we want to make the playoffs, we want to host them and eventually win the CAC championship.
Key losses from last year are the outfielders we had. The good outfielders I had graduated, and we have a completely new outfield for 2016. The ones we lost last year were very good defensively, and they ran very well. They would stop the balls in the gap from being 3 bases to 2 bases because of their foot speed. This year we will have to see.
Our coaches have provided us with a workout plan that includes the summer, fall, and winter. We had a hard-working fall that included 6 a.m. workouts. We plan to hit the ground running and win games immediately for this upcoming season.
Zach Rowe is a key returner, but he's not the only one. Ben Goldsmith, a left-handed pitcher, is a key, and Connor Goody, one of our catchers, this is his 4th year. He's one of our outstanding players. Those are our 3 key players. Well, I got 10 of them, and I would say if I've got to go to a name, Ben Webster, who is out of Bullis High School. He's a freshman, of course. He pitches and can play any of the infield or outfield positions. He's an outstanding young man anywhere you put him. I would say he is probably our #1 new prospect.
Looking forward to winning conference games, going out on the field, especially at home, and just playing baseball outside.
Our conference schedule is very tough. I don't care who you play. They're all strong teams. We don't have any weak links in our conference. Out of conference play is, I guess, Washington Lee, who we open up on the 6th and 7th, is probably the toughest non-conference game. Them and Randolph-Macon, who we play at home, Randolph-Macon. Washington Lee, as I said, we open up at their place to start with. But all of them are good teams.
I think we rank up there with the teams that we're going to be playing. We're going to definitely have a winning season, and I think we're going to win a lot of games. I think that the environment that the athletic department provides for their student athletes is very welcoming. We're a family as one, and the baseball team especially, we all get along very well together.
The CAC Student Athlete Advisory Committee promotes community service as one of the pillars of the organization's mission. CAC SAC members have impacted the communities surrounding their campuses in a variety of ways over the years.
The student athletes realize that it's important to give back to the community and make those connections between community members, whether it's nonprofits, whether it's groups of kids and clubs and organizations, whether it's senior citizens. Student athletes realize that, and they want and they have a desire, a true desire to give back to their community.
It's really important because it lets other people know what the Student Athlete Advisory Committee is about, because most people aren't aware of what we do. It bridges a gap between the communities, the student athlete community and the outside community.
It's very important for SAC to be involved like this. Whenever you have athletes that are very passionate about causes, and to put good people towards good causes is the best thing to do.
I think one of the most important functions of SAC is, the community involvement piece. It gives back to the school, it gives back to the community, which makes both better.
Our goals and expectations for this season, the first one is we want to compete. We want to compete in everything that we do, from early morning weights to fungos to winning baseball games. We want to be competitive and we want to compete from the first pitch until the last pitch. So that's one of our focuses and our goals this year, is to compete in everything that we do. Another goal that we've set is to finish. We want to finish. There were a lot of games last year against quality opponents that we took leads late into the game. We had Salisbury a lead late in the game and we didn't finish. And so we're trying to teach them how to finish, and one of our goals is to finish games. And that ties into being competitive. If we feel if we can learn how to finish better, we can hold off some of those games and get better. And then our ultimate goal is we want to make the CAC tournament. And that's an expectation. It's not just a goal. We expect to make the CAC tournament this year.
My goals and expectations for this season is to win at least more than half of our games in the CAC and have a great experience. It's my last year. Make the most of it.
So some of the key losses that we had last year, we had 2 seniors that we lost, well 3. CJ Andrews, our shortstop, he was a 4-year starter for us. It's always hurts when you lose your shortstop. He was a key loss. And then last year we lost Giovanni Prado. He hit really well for us and added a little power to our lineup. We lost Brad Jackson on the mound. He was a big part of our weekend rotation. And then we lost Luke Smith, and that one's going to hurt. He was second team All-CAC as a freshman, had an outstanding year. So he's going to hurt a little bit as well.
Off season, I've been able to work out and run almost every day and I followed a throwing program to help my arm recover from a surgery that I had a while back ago.
Some of the key returners that we have this year coming back, Colin Bigelow, we're expecting big things out of Colin this year. Gage Bigelow is finally healthy, so we feel with those two on the bump, we'll have a pretty good 1-2 punch. And then some of the key incoming players that we have coming in, really excited about what Marcus Begg will bring to us at third base, and what Ryan Warren will bring to us at shortstop as well. And then Cody Davis came in as a freshman, and he's going to have to fill Luke's shoes out there in center field, and brought in a transfer from Utah Valley University named Taylor Peterson that we hope on the mound is really going to give us one of the best 1-2-3 punches in the CAC.
I'm most looking forward to just having finally a healthy season. It's been 3 years I've been here now, and I haven't been able to really play because I've been hurt. And we have some great guys that I love being around, and it's going to be a good year.
In my opinion, this is our most complete and toughest schedule that we've had in the 7 years that we've been here. We play some of the best teams in the ODAC, some of the best teams in the USA South. So we're going to be pushed, and we're going to need to compete every day.
There's a lot of great teams in the CAC. There's not going to be any easy wins, and I love that. I love being able to play against good competition. It makes everyone play better, including myself. So I'm excited for it.
The biggest thing we need to get better at is we need to pitch better. That was one of the focuses in recruiting, is we went out and got some arms that we feel will help us compete better later in innings and later in games. That was our big thing, is we didn't pitch very well last year. We're hoping to correct that this year. And then just doing the little things a little bit better, making routine plays a little bit better. But I feel like if we can pitch a little bit better this year, I think we should have a shot of making the CAC tournament.
Most kids who come here are already kind of grown up and mature and know what they want in life, because a lot of them are return missionaries, whereas I'm not. And so when I came here, I was kind of immature and didn't know what I wanted in life. And over the years I've been here, I've really been able to find out who I am and what I want in life. And everyone around here has treated me like I'm part of their family. So I love this school. I'm glad I came here.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Our goals are about the same as they have been. We're competing for the conference title. The first part of that is to get to the conference championship tournament, finish in the top 6, be competitive within the league, and then see what happens once we get into the tournament. We've had a good run the last couple of years qualifying. I think we have another good shot to be there again.
Looking at our team and coming into the fall, I expect our team to be very competitive and to be in every single game we play, whether we come out on the winning or the losing side. I expect us to be in every single game no matter who's on the other side and be able to win every single ball game that we're in.
We lost a good chunk of our lineup. When you lose guys, Corey Smith, Matt Domian, Connor Gerbright, Tyler Hunter, those guys were in the middle of our order last year. So it's going to be tough to replace them. But we do have some new guys coming back. Trevor Mears coming off injury. He's back healthy again, so that'll be a big lift. Some other new guys that transferred in.
Well, for me, coming off of back surgery a couple years ago, I had to learn the process of being every day, of the grind and the process. And this year, kind of knowing what I had to do last year, I was able to build off of it, be able to work a little bit harder, do a couple of new things. But it was mainly the mental side for me, to be able to prepare for knowing what's going to be in front of me, what my role has to be, what I have to do to help the other guys be successful. So for me, it was the biggest thing was just being mentally prepared for the season.
Like I said, a lot of our young guys got a lot of good experience last year, so they'll be right back in the mix. Sam Meck and Eric Willie will be the leader of our pitching staff this year again. But a lot of the young guys, Cody Simmet, we have a lot of guys that got a lot of experience last year. On the offensive side, a couple guys that really came on toward the end of the year, Mike Calvarese, Joe Hummel, saw substantial playing time at the end of last year, and I think are, have earned their spot and looking to continue that and advance that. I mean, we got a couple young guys that came in. The one I think that is going to stand out that's kind of ready for prime time is Chris Siebert. He's a transfer from a junior college in New Jersey. His uncle actually played here. Was a senior my first year as a coach, so I got a little family lineage going on there, and he came in and had a great fall. I think he's going to be ready to contribute immediately.
Honestly, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is this group of guys seems like they're coming together. It's taking a little bit of time, but we're kind of starting to come together and enjoy being around each other. And the more you build chemistry, it just seems like winning comes from good chemistry.
We got a good non-conference schedule. We're starting off down at Hampton-Sydney with their Floyd Wilcox tournament. A couple good teams coming down there with Hampton-Sydney and I think Greensboro College is going to be there. A couple teams from New England, Oswego State, who's always very competitive in their league, with Cortland up there. Some local teams, Washington College, some Philly teams, Widener, Newman are on our schedule, so they're always very competitive in their leagues as well. And then our conference schedule is always difficult. We have a great conference. I mean, I think 2 teams are ranked in the top 10. Mary Wash is right outside the top 25. They were knocking on the door of the top 25 all last year. Our conference is a dogfight. Every time we're in there, nothing's a given. You got to fight to earn every conference victory.
I mean, non-conference, you always want to play the best teams that are in your conference to see, how you match up, because, the teams in our conference, everyone looks forward to Salisbury and Frostburg because, in conference rivals. But you like to see the teams outside of your conference to see how you match up. But regardless of who we play, to me, it really doesn't matter. You just want to get out there, toe it up, and do the best you can. The thing that I love about being a student athlete here is the interaction you have with all the other athletes. Like, my favorite time of the day is going down to the trainer's room, seeing other athletes, asking them about their season and, how it's going for them, and just, getting outside of just your sport. Instead of baseball players with baseball players, basketball players with basketball, you get to interact with football players, lacrosse players, different kind of people to kind of give you a sense of family, that we all play for the same school and we're just not individuals.
Well, our goals and expectations, I think, are very similar every year. Number one goal is to be competitive in a highly competitive conference like the Capital. We took a nice step forward last year, but we realized that's all it is. It's just a very small step forward. We got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of good teams in this league that are reloading every year, and we just need to stay on the right path to move forward again. So that's our primary goal, is to be competitive. And then I would say expectations-wise, I expect our guys to be competitive. I expect us to have a chance to compete for a viable playoff position in this league. Whether or not we're able to do that, we're certainly not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. And so it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of hard work. Teams are going to be more prepared for us this year than ever.
So our goals for this year as a team is pretty basic. We just want to be in every game. We want to compete. We don't go in looking, we're playing the nation's number 5 team. We're going in there just another team, and we know how to prepare. We prepare for every scenario. We're not going to see anything that we haven't seen before. So our goal would be just to compete and be in every game.
Well, there's no question that our depth and overall talent level has improved each year. You know, the first year when we got here, the first year that we didn't have a team and we were recruiting, we got here kind of late. You know, we were very late in the recruiting process. By the time we got started, many guys were already taken. I think we started out with 22 freshmen, for instance, that first year, and I think we're down to like 10 originals right now. So we've had quite a bit of turnover, but that turnover has been positive in terms of bringing in the right caliber of player moving forward that can help us be more competitive overall.
This year, I hope to contribute what I always contribute, just good effort, good attitude on the team. I like to just make sure everyone's in the game. Someone makes a mistake, I see them with their head down. I like to just go over and, hey, let it go, it's done, learn from it, move forward. And also offensively, I like to just be kind of like a spark. I like to get on, run early, put the pressure on the defense, kind of stop me, and defensively shag down or run down every ball I possibly can and make the plays I can for my pitchers.
We have the core of the guys that were mainstays, so to speak, are back for us this year, but we're still going to have some shuffling. We brought in some good new players. You know, it just sort of depends. It depends. The internal competition is kind of kicking into gear like it always does. And so while we had some guys make some pretty good contributions for us last year, there's some other guys ready and hungry to take those positions. We also were hit a little bit by the injury bug last year, so a couple of guys that we were sort of counting on for a bigger role last year are now more in the fold for this season as well. So while we do have just about everybody back, and we lost one guy that played significantly for us last year, had a good year, and he's no longer with us. But beyond that, you know, we've got everybody back, and we feel pretty good about where we are.
So off season, most of the guys were on summer teams from New York to local teams. We're just really spread out, and I think that helped develop individuals and also our team, because it got kind of our program name out there, because we are a new program, and they just kind of show people that we do have good players and that we can compete. And then also during our fall ball is we inter squad a lot, so we're always competing and we're always trying to win each game, or even against each other we're trying to compete and beat each other. And I think Coach Leone did a good job recruiting freshmen this year and bringing in people that can compete, so no one's stagnant.
One of the things that I've been focusing on pretty heavily in the first few years is if we're ever going to catch up, if we're ever going to continuously be competitive with the Salisburys, the CNUs, the Frostburg States, the Mary Washingtons, basically all the state schools that are in our conference, we've got to play a top quality non-conference schedule. We can't duck anybody, because if we do, then when it comes time to play the conference games, we're not going to be in the right element for those. So we've tried to make our schedule as difficult as we can without going overboard, especially at the beginning of the season. And I think that's reflected in the fact that we had the 20th ranked, you know, strength of schedule in all of Division III baseball last year. Out of 383 teams, whatever it was, we were ranked 20th in the country, which is important to us. It means a lot, and the kids want that too. That they want to be challenged. They want to know that they're playing some of the better teams. That's going to, you know, obviously going to prepare them for the games that count the most, which are the conference games. Well, first of all, I do think that the four teams that we continuously mention here, Frostburg, Salisbury, well, Salisbury, probably in this order, Salisbury, Frostburg, Mary Wash, and CNU are probably all top 25 caliber programs. They're loaded. So we know that going in. I do expect that York, who had sort of a little bit of a misstep last year, will be back. Wesley, you know, those guys scrap like anybody in this conference. They're always a difficult matchup for anyone. Penn State Harrisburg went on a really nice run at the end of last year. Southern Virginia is getting more and more talented each year. They beat us twice last year and didn't even make the playoffs. So and then St. Mary's, I know they had a tough year last year, and I know Lou Jenkins will do a great job and rebound with those guys as well. So I think from top to bottom, there's really not an easy weekend in the conference, and I think everybody is going to be ready. They're going to be certainly going to be ready for Marymount. So I expect, and I hope I didn't forget anybody there, but I fully expect that it'll be probably the biggest of the 3 years in terms of a challenge for us.
Just really seeing how all our hard work translates to the field, because we know we put in the work, and we just want to see how we stack up against everyone else. I'm also interested to see how everyone else looks at us now, because last year I think we I don't want to say lucky because I don't like to think anyone just said they're going to just run us over, but some people didn't expect that we were going to come out the way we came out, and I think they're going to be gunning for us this year. So I'm interested to see how other teams respond to us this year.
You know, when you had a chance to step back and digest last season, obviously we were a little disappointed with the way we, performed in the conference tournament. Although we competed well against Mary Wash and Frostburg, we did lose 2 and got knocked out right away. But we felt like, when you look back on it, yeah, we did some pretty good stuff last year with a team full of freshmen and sophomores. So we are looking forward to this year and having an opportunity to take another step forward. There's always the danger when you have a team this young and still developing that, they get a little ahead of themselves and think that, they rest their laurels on what we did last year. Well, hopefully I'm doing my job and not allow us to do that. So,
for the love of the game, but for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Our goals are similar to what they are every year. We want to win the conference regular season, we want to win the conference tournament, and we want to advance to NCAA regional.
The first expectation is to make it back to the CAC tournament. We didn't make it last year, came up a few games short, so that's the first expectation. Goals would be to get back to the CAC tournament and win, or at least compete for it, make it to the NCAA tournament, get to regionals. I've never been there in my 4 years, so I'd really like to get there, experience what's going on in regionals, and make a run at the NCAA tournament.
We return 4 starting pitchers. That should be the foundation of our team. Guys with some experience, guys with some history of winning. So we're excited about that. We should have a very solid infield. Last year, the guys playing infield was their first taste of college baseball, and so they had a chance to get some experience. And this year they're prepared to make the jump to be impact players. And also we're very strong defensively up the middle, solid behind the plate, and also in center field as well.
Our fall season was good. We had a lot of new guys come in, and everybody really just bought in right away. It was really different from years past. The seniors, we really came together, and we really got all the young guys to get on one page. So far in the offseason, starting in the fall, everybody was really clicking. Everybody really bonded together. We really had a good bond. That made the fall go much smoother. In the off season, we had a new training system. We were lifting 3 days a week, doing conditioning another day a week with new trainer Coach Day. He really got us all into shape. Everybody bought into that again, and with everybody buying in, it's really made a difference. We've become closer as a team, and I think that'll make us better in the season.
We have 4 returning starting pitchers: Ellie Mortimer, Rainey Frankenfield, Matt Goodman, and Joel Kenny. 2/3 of our outfield returns with Sean Mulholland and Logan Countryman. We have very experienced infield. And then behind the plate, Seth Brocious really played well in the second half of last year. We're excited about Steve Miller in the DH spot. He's a guy that's, we're looking for him to contribute in the middle of the order. Who's very talented swinging the bat. We're excited about this year's freshman class. We have a lot of very talented young players. Some guys that can really have the opportunity to contribute coming out of the bullpen. Jeff Noss is a guy that we like in the starting rotation, and also to contribute innings out of the bullpen as well. And then as far as the outfield goes, that right field spot's up for grabs, so it could be any number of young players. We feel like they're very talented, and it's just a matter of who steps up and wins the position. Everybody knows the CAC is one of the toughest conferences in the entire country, if not the toughest. There's not a single easy game there, so you have to come ready to play every single day. As far as the out-of-conference schedule goes, it'll be a typical York College schedule. We're going to start with some traditional powers on our southern trip. We'll stop in Georgia, then we'll also stop in Virginia on the way home. And then once we get back home, it's just a who's who of NCAA tournament caliber teams.
Yeah. Well, the first highlight is we're going down to Georgia for the first time in my career here. We're going down playing a 3-game set down there. So that's going to be really fun. We go back down to Myrtle Beach. But the CAC is always really tough. Top to bottom, there's not an easy game. You know, you play the Salisburys, you play the Christopher Newports, the Mary Washingtons. They're all really sound teams. And just playing 2 games apiece against them, playing home sets, playing away sets, you know, they're all really fun. I'm really excited to play against them. We have our general, you know, your college out of conference schedule. We play a lot of tough teams every year. We'll go on the road, we'll play anybody, so looking forward to playing all those teams.
I would say at this point we're flying under the radar slightly. We have a lot of players that no one really knows about that haven't earned all conference accolades, so maybe they're getting a little bit overlooked. So I feel like we're in a similar position that we were to in the beginning of 2014. So I look for a lot of guys to make an impact and maybe surprise some people. So our goal again is to win the conference and advance to the NCAA tournament.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, you know, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Our goals and expectations stay the same every year. We want to obviously compete in the conference for a conference championship and obviously put ourselves in position to compete on a national level every year.
First and foremost, our primary goal is to win the conference, and I spent a lot of time talking with the guys that were on the 2012 World Series team, and so I know what it takes to make it to that level. So ultimately, you'd have to win the conference first to advance onto that stage, so we're aware of what it takes. So,
well, we're real fortunate in the sense that we are only losing really one key loss, and that would be Justin Garber, our closer last year. He's going to be sorely missed. We relied on him a lot at the end of the games to complete and close down the games, and we won't have him this year. So Justin will be missed.
Well, this offseason, I've prepared myself, and being a senior, I've had time to reflect on the time I've spent with this program, and I've had time to reflect on the guys that came before me and who gave me the knowledge that I needed to get to this point. So I know collectively we've also reflected on the time we spent together and how that'll help set us up for this season. Hopefully it's a good one.
Our key returners this year, you know, like I said before, fortunately we have all our position players back from last year, as well as quite a few of our pitchers. So, you know, to name all of them, it would probably take the whole time. But, you know, like I said, really excited about being able to have the experience back and having all of our position players back. We do have quite a few key newcomers who are freshmen that are pushing the upperclassmen for playing time. Off the top of my head, yeah, we have Austin Henry and Joe Cutchins, Austin Slough and Jordan Mason have all performed well in the fall, and I look for them to be able to get in the lineup and contribute right away.
Honestly, what I'm looking forward to most this season is just getting out there and playing. We spend countless hours in the weight room and out on the field during the fall, and even in the summer when some guys get down here early. So I think we're just excited to get out there and finally put everything together that we've been working on in the fall and the winter and ultimately the preseason. So,
well, one thing that we take pride in is how we schedule every year, and again, we try to do that in hopes that we are playing in the postseason. So when we get there, it's not unfamiliar territory. So we've once again put together a very tough schedule and bringing in some teams that have competed in the World Series as well as competed in regionals year in and year out, and we feel like that is obviously an added bonus in preparing us for the postseason.
My thoughts on the CAC schedule, I'm excited because I feel like we'll be able to play with a chip on our shoulder because we both have Salisbury and Frostburg State, who both made it to the World Series last year. So I honestly feel as though we're of an equal caliber as they are. So I'm just excited that we can get out there on the field and kind of show them what we've got this year. So favorite parts about being a student athlete here is honestly just representing the school itself, especially traveling, getting to wear the colors and the logos and the letters and everything. It's just, there's a sense of pride there, and I can speak for all of us on the team. It's a good feeling to know that we're representing such a great university and baseball program.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, and I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
With what we did last year, and I think the program that we built over the last 5 years in the league, I think the expectation is to get to the conference tournament and then, you know, make a run at it at the end and try to get to the postseason. I think that's got to be the standard from here on out. Moving forward is to try to get to NCAA play. You know, that doesn't happen overnight, and certainly every time you have a new class come in or you lose guys, that your expectations and goals, I think, at least along the way, probably change those mini goals. But I think in the end, you know, the goals remain the same, and it's try to get to the top of the mountain, get to the regional, have the opportunity to win a regional championship, and go back to Appleton. So, as I said in the press conference last year, our last press conference at the World Series, that's going to kind of be the bar now, and that's the expectation, is to try to find a way to get back there. I hope that we have a little bit of a blueprint, an idea of how to do it. And then obviously the difficult task is to find the players and the makeup and the mentality that can help you get there.
So I think goal number one would just have to be, even same thing as last year, is just trying to get the #1 seed for the conference tournament. And that was something we really pushed for last year a lot. So I think coming into this year is a good place to start there, and then go from there and hope things work out after that.
I mean, we lost so many seniors that played a huge part in our success. Ricky Castro, Ricky Brady, Zach Weiss, Lane Farmer, Nick Walker, and of course 2 huge guys on the mound, Bennett Schultz and Clayton Frymuth. I mean, all the seniors that we lost, Nick McElfish included, all played a huge role in our success. They all did a lot of great things along the way, and usually, you know, there was a couple guys that were going good and maybe some weren't, but all of them, you know, if you look back at their numbers and the stats, they all played a huge part in those 43 wins, and they're going to be greatly missed.
We do a really good job with both, you know, from our coaching staff and also the weight and conditioning guys. They help us out a lot. Our coaches give us, you know, a throwing program for pitchers, and even like long toss programs for outfielders, infielders, and stuff like that. So going in, we have a good idea of what we need to do and, you know, things to work on specifically. And our weight training guys give us a packet, so we continue our lifting just as we would do if we were still in school during the fall or during our season in the spring.
I think obviously you got to start with Greg Schneider. I mean, he was a utility player, All-American, was just tremendous for us on the mound. I think by the time the season ended, he was pretty much our #1. He was a horse down the stretch for us, the conference tournament and on into the regional, and certainly the World Series. But I think, you know, the things that he did from an offensive standpoint are going to be a huge part of replacing some of those guys that we lost. So certainly you start with him. When we bring back some really important guys on the pitching staff, Kyle McCormick, Nick Huff, some guys that were there in the postseason, Jake Stevens, Connor Cooper, Jeremy Ramalia, Jamal Wyndham, just to name a couple, and of course JT Tipton, who was a huge anchor of our infield last year. So going to be relying upon a lot of those guys that were there with us last year. Pat Sines as well did a really good job in the fall. So hopefully some of those guys with the experience are going to be huge for us moving forward, and you combine them with some of the newcomers that we have, you know, and we definitely shouldn't leave out Zach Keeler, academic All-American. He kind of embodies everything that we've done, you know, that we want to do from an academic standpoint, and then he's been, you know, a three-year starter really for us at catcher and DH, so we don't want to leave him out as well. So he's going to be a huge part in the middle of our order.
I think the best part about it is, you know, I'm looking forward to the road trips. We always seem to have a lot of fun, and God knows we have a lot of them here with all the weather. So, you know, the road trips get to be fun, and just hanging out with all the guys is a good time.
As we stated, with those losses, you had a lot of guys that you need to replace. We've gone out and we've gotten 4 Division I transfers, including one of our infielders, KJ Hakaday, who's been drafted once already by the Orioles. We got a couple other, the other 3 guys are the Division I transfers or pitchers, which is going to be a huge shot in the arm to us with some of those arms that we lost. We went out and we brought in Cody Harmon, who's going to start behind the dish for us, along with Eddie Dukevich, another catcher who's going to help us out. Devin Bell's another guy who we brought in, who was a junior college All-American, hit a bunch of home runs and went to the Junior College World Series last year at Fredericksburg Community College. Brad Guerin, another guy from Cecil Community College, who could do a lot of different things for us, play the outfield, play the infield. And
I think with the schedule is pretty much just looking at game 1. So we have February 13th, we go to Roanoke. And other than that, you don't look forward too much, or at least I don't, because it gets hard to keep track with it. I mean, you might look for certain games here and there, but, you know, we play a lot of good teams throughout the season. I know that, and especially in the conference play, and that's always big for, like I said, we want to get the #1 seed. So the conference games are huge, but, you know, the non-conference games help us. I think we play, maybe last year was like 10 or 12 games before we even get into the conference play. So those non-conference games in the beginning of the year definitely help get us going and get us moving before the conference stuff.
I think I say this every year this time. I mean, anytime you're competing in the Capital Athletic Conference in baseball, you're competing in one of the top conferences in the country. You know, every year Salisbury's in the top 5 or top 10. CNU's been to the World Series a few times. Mary Washington really had a good year last year. York, I look to rebound. They're going to be a lot closer, I think, to what they were in 2014 than they were last year. They had some guys that were injured and things last year, so I look to them to rebound. Wesley's always strong. Marymount got us twice last year, and that's just naming, you know, 4 or 5 of the members of the league. So it's always tough. The different thing is we're going to have the target on our back, well on our front, and everybody's going to be gunning for us.
It's on us. It's on all of us, and it's time to act now.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause, to recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault, to identify situations in which sexual assault may occur,
to intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given,
to create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
This is our It's On Us pledge. It's on us to make a personal commitment to help keep all people safe from sexual assault, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, or ability.
Not to be bystanders to the problem, but to be leaders of the solution. We invite you to join us in this campaign by informing your campuses about the It's On Us mission.
Educate your student body, faculty, staff, and local community on how to prevent sexual assault and how to support survivors.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
Fell a little bit short in the conference tournament, and I really don't want to say we fell short in the conference tournament. We went up against the #1 ranked team and a #4 ranked team in the country, and both of those guys went to the World Series, so I had a pretty good year. You know, how are we going to improve on a 2015 27-7 campaign? Well, you know, I don't know if we can theoretically numbers-wise, because that's a pretty good winning percentage. Hopefully, through our continued work, in our maturation, in our ability to play the baseball game with our skill set, has improved throughout the last year and a half. Hopefully our knowledge and how it applies to us playing our game and our type of game has improved. Obviously that's a key. And then finally, hopefully we've gotten some help through the recruiting process, that somebody can come in and not necessarily make a huge impact, but throw a little bit into the pie and help. We might not necessarily need a huge impact. Obviously, you'd always take that. But anytime you can bring a couple guys in that can chip in a little, and when you get 3 or 4 guys doing that, that makes you a lot better real quick. So those are the kind of things that we're looking at. And hopefully being able to play the game of baseball technically better than what we did at times last year.
We want to host a CAC championship, number one, and after we host it, we're definitely going to want to win it and get a regional bid, and then take our talents to definitely to the NCAA tournament. We also want to score 5 runs a game. We want to make less than 2 errors a game, and we definitely, we want to win the CAC for sure. Getting into the weight room every week with George, he takes care of us. He tells us what we need to be doing, and he gives us something to do over winter break. So we come back, a little heavier, a little faster, and ready to compete.
Our off-season work is wonderful. I just commended those guys the other day about how hard they work, and how fortunate we are here at UMW to have a full-time strength and conditioning coach and to have a wonderful weight facility, and for our strength coach to be able to condition us, make us stronger, and our guys to really take advantage of it. And we're very, very fortunate. Our strength coach has taken us through a year-long strength and conditioning program. I'm very proud to say that we hold about all the lifting records here at this university, so that's neat. And I think that's important because it's about breeding success for us. Success in the classroom, success in the weight room, and rolling that over to success on the baseball diamond. So we really use that thing as a culture builder, a way for us to learn how to succeed and compete. So it's a vital, integral part of our program at this point in time, and I would guess it's always going to be that way. That's the way I want it.
We have a tough schedule, no doubt. We didn't get a regional bid last year, and I think our schedule this year definitely reflects that. It's a hard one, and if we can come out on top, we'll get the regional bid this year. We're held to a high academic standard, and we also get a lot of gear, and the weight room is very nice.
Goals and expectations remain the same. They've been in this program for probably the last 15 years. Coach Fleetwood and Coach Sire set standards and traditions that have lived up to it. I was fortunate enough to come in with a great group last year. We did very well in the conference, got into the regional, and made a return appearance to the World Series. So those 3 things are always goals around here.
Our goals for the season, obviously, are to win a national championship. That's our expectation every year. But we take that game by game, being competitive, giving everything we've got. First thing is game 1, and then we take it game by game up until the conference tournament, into the regionals, and then the World Series.
We had a bunch. We graduated 11. Bobby Sanzone, Austin Barefoot, Brett Kalachi, Dan Fine, Kyle Heyman, Jordan Gow. There were quite a few that left the program last year. So it's going to be some key losses. However, some new blood has entered the program, and we're excited about that as well. Our key returners, first you got to start with Pete Grasso at shortstop. You have Alex Lippman at second base. Tyler Harisak in center field. You also have Kyle Goodwin, who played a little bit of first base and outfield. He's more than likely to see some more outfield play this year. And then a couple guys that kind of were behind the scenes last year that didn't get a lot of time. Tom Labriola will be our catcher this year, and then Scott Ardone will kind of be our hybrid, playing a little bit everywhere.
This offseason was very good for us. Many of the guys played in very competitive leagues. Pete was in the Cape Cod for a little while. Alex Littman was in the Ripken League, and then Scotty was in MCBL. Everybody did very well. Just talking with everyone seemed to have a very good off-season. Losing a lot of seniors from last year, I think is very important that everybody got their work in, because there's going to be some guys that were sitting behind those seniors that are going to get their opportunities. So I really think that this off-season will very help with transitioning their skills to the field.
We have a bunch of them. Our key newcomers, Caleb Johnson on the mound, AJ Korzinski on the mound, Ian Schneidman on the mound, Ryan Goff on the mound, Brad Keith, who was a transfer, plays outfield and will be off the mound. So we've added a lot of depth in a lot of places. Jack Barry has come in and really solidified himself at third base. So we have quite a few freshmen. I think we had a total of 13, 14 total in this year's class.
Just being out there with all the guys, I think. This is my last season. I'm graduating, so just not taking anything for granted and just going out there and enjoying the time that I have left.
It's always tough. Our non-conference schedule is always tough. We try to schedule some of the tougher opponents we can to get us ready for the postseason. Last year with the bad weather, we were unable to play Cortland or Shenandoah and those guys that we usually play year in and year out. We've scheduled Kane this year, Penn State Berks, a couple regional teams. We're still probably going to schedule a couple more after this point. It's always tough. The CAC, a lot of people thought it was down last year. I thought it was very competitive, especially in the top tier. I thought Marymount was very good, and I think they're going to be very good this year. They were young. I think Mary Washington is very good as well. York's always solid. We're always near the top, and Frostburg had a great year as well last year. So I think it's going to be very competitive all the way around.
We have a very good schedule. One thing that pops out is Cortland, national champions. But to be honest, you don't really look into that, or at least I don't. We take every game the same. We don't weigh games more than others, because then that's when you get yourself in trouble. But yeah, it'll be exciting. Like I said, I mean, they're all equally important. You can't sit there and say, oh, this upcoming weekend's a big conference weekend. They're all important. So you go out there and give it everything you've got every time we go between the lines.
Well, my first year was great. The culture has already been set around here with Coach Fleetwood. We had a very veteran-led group last year. I didn't try to change too much or implement too much. I think this year with a lot of new players, myself and the coaching staff has decided that we're really going to implement what we want this year. And hopefully the kids buy into it, believe in it, and it takes us the same places we've been before.
My favorite thing about being a student athlete would be just the camaraderie between all the sports. You get to meet so many people, and it's just very rewarding.